To just start off, what was the experience like yesterday, being able to deliver all those smiles to those kids?
Well, I said yesterday, that's one of my favorite days of the year. So I've been in 6 trips to Boston Children's now over the holidays, and you know, we always get a lot more out of it than the kids do, and it's a great thing. Obviously, it's an incredible place. The work they're doing is amazing. We're blessed here in Boston to have a medical community that we do, but to go and spend time with the kids, they lifted our spirits, certainly probably in more ways than we did there.
So is Jalen good to go?
We went through everything each of the last 2 days without any issues. So unless for some reason it comes up tomorrow and he feels worse, which I don't anticipate, then he should be good to go.
Last week when you guys had the heavy practice, you came out of that and seeing how competitive it was and how it gave you guys energy. What was yesterday's like?
It was good. They played really hard, went after each other. You know, we're just trying to build on what we did last week. You know, I don't think we have necessarily found answers as much as we've made a few strides. So we gotta put together a consistent stretch. And I think everybody's dedicated to that. And we realize the challenge is tough tomorrow. I mean, last time New York came in here, they pounded us in every which way. And so we're gonna have to play better.
Do you have any idea about starting lineup on the bench? Is Jalen coming off the bench tomorrow?
We'll let everybody know tomorrow. But yeah, obviously we're kind of set on what we're going to do tomorrow.
Coach, Marcus Smart, do you think he gets the credit for doing? He does all of the grit, the toughness stuff that you keep talking about, but do you think he gets credit for his basketball IQ and how smart he is on the court?
I think it's one of his greatest strengths. I'm not sure that he does get the credit for that. When he first got here, he made more instinctive defensive plays than any 20-year-old that I had ever seen. And you know, I think that's a credit to him in his mind, his savvy, the coaching he got as a youth. But I think that he's a very smart, savvy player, that's for sure.
I know we've talked about it. What has he brought and added to that starting unit playing alongside Kyrie, and then what will go into the decision?
Same stuff he always has, you know, and I think that's the bottom line. He brings a great tenacity. He brings us, as John mentioned, savvy. If he's tough, he can fill a void in any which way you need. And you know, I think he's picking his spots well with that group. Now, that being said, as I said the other day, that group wasn't as good the other day as it has been. So, you know, hopefully we continue to build and become as consistent as we can with all of our groups.
As you're integrating with the starting lineup, what role does player input have in the decision-making process?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line is that, you know, that's one of the unfortunate parts is that as a coach you have to make those decisions and you have to communicate them well, and you have to think about how it will affect people, and you have to be empathetic to that. And the reality is it's not easy to bounce back and forth in and out of a lineup, and it's not easy to play less minutes than you're accustomed to. And at the same time, you know, your responsibility is to 15 guys in the organization as a whole. But I do think you have to be empathetic to that. As I've said many times, I didn't play near at this level. But my experience, you know, I learned a heck of a lot more about myself when I was on the bench than I did when things were in the starting lineup. And to me, that's one of the reasons why I've kind of de-emphasized starting as something that everybody just talks about and something that's ultimately as important as it's made out to be.
Coach, against the Knicks, you know, 10 days ago, you go out, you know, a bunch of young players making names for themselves. Is it an attack in the beginning of the game?
Well, I thought, you know, even if I thought we attacked early on, I thought they did a great job of taking advantage of some defensive slippage on our part and some turnovers that were uncharacteristic. And then I thought we tried to hit home runs the rest of the game to try to get back in it. And, you know, it didn't pan out. They outplayed us. They were better than we were. We have to play better to have a chance to win.
How many things did you see, you know, watching the film? Obviously, you had a great game statistically. Did you see from Gordon that was, okay, this is what?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the ball went in. And so I think that always is helpful when the ball goes through the net. But as far as like making plays off pick and rolls and passing, he's been doing that all year. Yeah, he's been making the right play in a lot of those actions time and again. He did have I thought the drive at the end of the game was really forceful, the left-hand drive from the elbow. And we saw that a couple of times in practice on Wednesday. That's a little bit of a wrinkle that we hadn't seen as much in the last couple of weeks. So you knew that was coming. But other than that, he's done a lot of those things. When the ball goes in, it sometimes makes everybody feel a little bit better.
Do you feel like you've gotten what you wanted out of these two little stretches of time?
Yeah, I think time will tell, but yeah, I feel we've added a little bit, but we've tried to really become better at who we are and emphasize the things we're not as good at. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.